It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us. Close to home, football season may be over for the West Bloomfield Lakers, but that doesn't mean our L boys aren't still making big plays all across the country. Maxwell Hairston, a West Bloomfield alum and state champion way back in that 2020 COVID season, drafted in the first round of the NFL draft this past spring by the Buffalo Bills, just made his NFL debut recently after coming off of the injury list, and he started off in style. We'll take a look at that interception play. Patrick Mahomes takes the snap, he goes and steps up in the pocket, throws it off to his right in the air, leaping grab for Mad Max. There he is off the long ball with his first career interception. What a way to start your career, young man. Take another look at this, the video from CBS Sports. Their big matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, something we saw very often out at Lakers Stadium and all throughout Southeast Michigan, especially during that 2020 season with Mad Max taking the ball away from those offenses. What a way to get started against a legend like Patrick Mahomes. After his big game versus KC, Hairston told WIVB News 4 out of Buffalo, their team's Josh Reed, just how he felt about playing his first game at home in front of the Bills Mafia, and of course getting his first career interception versus Patrick Mahomes.
This is one of none, bro. Like, being in here is so much fun. Being with his fans, like, for my first game ever in here, one of the best games of my life, man.
Your first time, your first opportunity to play in this great rivalry against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm assuming it wasn't hard to get up for this one, right?
Hey, this man, playing against the Chiefs, playing against two future Hall of Famers in Kelsey and Mahomes, it's one of the games that you pray for growing up. And I'm so happy I was a part of this, man, and I was able to impact the game and do it for my team, man.
Something of big pride for us here in West Bloomfield. Seeing our players go off to the next level, have so much success at the collegiate level. Of course, Makari Page, Donovan Edwards winning an NCAA football Division I college football playoff championship just a couple of years ago. Unfortunate for a Spartan like me, they did it at the University of Michigan. Of course, even our former head coach Ron Bellamy, part of that team. And now at the NFL level, we've seen the success of Matthew Judon, his number retired at Laker Stadium, the 99 off and the north side of the field. Others like Tristan Jackson having so much success at the NFL level. And now Maxwell Hairston, the highest drafted Laker in this program's football history, early on, his first handful of games in the NFL. And he gets an interception in that game. And to boot, it's off of arguably the best quarterback in the game in Patrick Mahomes. Big congratulations to Maxwell Hairston from our team here at Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. You can congratulate Max yourself on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield School District. They posted even more of his interview with Josh Reed from News 4 out of Buffalo on their Facebook page, facebook.com/West Bloomfield Schools. Find them there at West Bloomfield Schools or W Bloomfield Schools on Instagram. In Sylvan Lake, great food and great tunes as Guma combines two attractions into one fun night every single week, combining music and, of course, their fantastic Italian cuisine. Civic Center TV reporter Jake Schaff has the scoop.
Music is one of the true universal languages, and just recently, Guma Italian Restaurant in Sylvan Lake has been welcoming in so much music thanks to their Thursday Open Mic Night series, a chance for local singer-songwriters to stop by the restaurant, showcase their talent, and the chance to leave a valuable impression on the community with their music.
It definitely has been a work in progress since we opened a year and a half ago. We've been wanting to do this. We are very fortunate to have a connection to Billy, who knows the owner, and he's the one that kind of worked with Brad, the owner, to put this together for us. So far, we've had some really beautiful artists come in, and we're really excited to see what comes in the next few weeks. Since we've opened, we've had the stage here. And people have asked us, like, oh, do you do live music? And it was always, not yet. We want to in the future, this, that, the other. And as soon as we launched it the very first night, we had a full house. So it really made the community excited. It makes us excited. It's been a really good turnout.
It is wonderful. The staff is wonderful, and there's always great fans and people. And I just love singing and bringing joy to people and while they're eating dinner and enjoying their evening.
How do you feel that this is going to help not just yourself, but just the entire music scene here in West Bloomfield?
Just performing and a place opening up their doors to live music always brings new fans and attention to not only the restaurant but to live music. And live music adds a great aspect and atmosphere overall to restaurants and bar scenes and all that kind of thing.
How do you think that these open mic nights help the atmosphere of Guma?
I think it just adds a little bit to it, just makes it a little more exciting than just having dinner, and then I think that we'll pull more people in, so I think it's fun for everybody. Hopefully it'll just keep catching on, and we're promoting it on social media, so hopefully it'll just keep going and going.
We have a big regular base, and we want to be able to bring those regulars all together. It's certain nights where everybody comes in at the same time and everybody knows each other. So adding the live music really gives them an opportunity to know, like, if they're going to come here for the live music, they're going to see familiar faces and be able to talk to their neighbors and friends that they haven't seen and just get together and enjoy the atmosphere and the music.
There have been so many pleasant sounds to come from this restaurant as of late, and there's going to be plenty more as this event continues to get popular. And the joy of music continues to be spread all throughout Greater West Bloomfield. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Appreciate the report, Jake. You can find more information on Guma's upcoming singer-songwriter nights in the prettiest little city in Michigan, in Sylvan Lake. Join them on their Instagram page at Guma_SYL. That's GOOMAH_SYL on Instagram, or see their interview on CivicCenterTV.com for even more fun things happening at Guma on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake. That's just a little bit to the east of the Clinton River Trail in the prettiest little city in Michigan. In focus in the heart of the lakes, bus stop safety, with recent incidents on Orchard Lake Road having parents sounding the alarm for motorists that are not following the rules and therefore aren't keeping our kids safe as they get to and from school each and every day during the week. I spoke to Keego Harbor Police Officer James Dennis to explore how the Keego Harbor Police Department is addressing the issue with their local partners in our community and beyond to make sure your kids remain safe at the bus stop on Orchard Lake. Officer Dennis, thanks for being on the show today.
Morning, how are you?
I'm doing well, how are you?
Not bad.
Good to have you on to talk about this. This has been a growing concern. It sort of caught a little bit of fire on local social media in Keego Harbor about particularly motorists during the morning and afternoon rush not paying attention or straight up ignoring buses that are stopped on Orchard Lake Road, dropping our kids off from their local school or picking them up for the school day. And so as this became a rising concern, how has the Keego Harbor Police Department stepped in to help mitigate this issue, not only to inform motorists of what they're responsible for when school buses are nearby, but most importantly, to keep those bus stops safe for our local kids and families?
There's a difference between just hiding out and giving people tickets for it and actually being seen. So we try and be as visible as possible as we can with a patrol car on top of the bus. A lot of times we find during rush hour, people are rushing to work. So it's normally not just they're passing the school bus, they're also speeding and there's other infractions on top of it. So we're just out there enforcing it as much as we can.
And the regular enforcement, too, you usually will have officers nearby our local schools. That was definitely the case previously each and every day when Roosevelt Elementary School was active in the city of Keego Harbor. It was not atypical to see even a squad car parked in the middle of the street there in the turn lane with their lights on, just to raise that awareness that maybe it's time to slow down and pay better attention to the rules of the road. So when there are issues like this that arise and parents do have concerns about the safety of their kids because motorists are blowing by stopped buses with their stop signs on, how does that then change the paradigm for the local police like yours in Keego Harbor for maybe increasing that patrol?
So Keego we're pretty small. Normally we have one officer on duty. So what we try and do is mitigate and hit the bus stops. We've teamed up with West Bloomfield School District. Sylvan Lake is also assisting us on this. And the main problem areas like on Orchard Lake Road and Maddie Lane, where you have oncoming traffic that doesn't see, we tend to hit that every bus stop. If we can. If there's a call that comes out that's priority, obviously we have to answer that. But I tend to look at this like there is, property crime and things like that, but kids are not replaceable. So if we can be there, we're going to be there always.
And it's kind of an oddity, too, in our local area, not just in Kego, but in the rest of the Tri-Cities and in West Bloomfield, that we have a bus stop right in the heart of a main thoroughfare during those rush hour times in the morning and the evening on Orchard Lake Road, two lanes going in one direction, one in the other, typically at any point of the day. That's got to add some factor into this. Maybe motorists don't understand the rules of the road when it comes to buses fully stopped, even on a main thoroughfare like that, if they're on one of the far lanes on the right side. So even if they are all the way over on the right side, they're parked in front of maybe the Lodge or other places on Orchard Lake Road going through Kego Harbor, and they have their stop lights on. What should motorists be aware of when they see those lights come up, and to understand that they need to help make sure these kids are safe, but also that they're not going to put themselves in a position to pick up a pretty significant violation on the road?
Yeah. From what we've seen, there's maybe a lack of communication, but you have to stop even on oncoming. And the normal excuse from what I get is people saying that on a main road like that, they didn't realize they had to stop when they're on oncoming. I've even heard it's a divided street southbound on Cass in the neighborhood because it's divided by grass in the middle. People in oncoming think that they don't have to stop, and that's just not the case. A lot of times too, in fact, in the last two that we stopped, the drivers didn't have licenses. So it's kind of hard to know the laws of the road when you don't have a license.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. And there's other factors too that play into even the patrol and the enforcement of these bus stop areas when there's so much traffic on Orchard Lake Road. What are some of the common issues that maybe make it a little bit difficult to enforce, particularly when it comes to ticketing these individuals and tracking them down? If someone does see somebody blowing by, even if it's one of your officers, what sort of challenges arise in identifying and stopping drivers who do illegally pass these buses at any point in our day?
Normally, if we're there, we're going to stop them. We're monitoring it. If we see them, we stop them. If we are on a call or something like that, I know West Bloomfield, I've been told by the bus drivers that West Bloomfield, some of the buses have cameras on them, and a West Bloomfield officer in West Bloomfield will actually write a ticket for the bus stop violation. That's not something we've grouped up with West Bloomfield School District because there's only certain buses that have the cameras, and you have a conflict of the bus driver trying to identify the actual driver of the vehicle and things like that. So the best thing we can do is just continue to be proactive, and there's 6 bus stops total off of Maddie Lane and Orchard Lake Road, which is really the problem spot. And we try and literally be there every single time. I was there this morning. They had late start, 2 hours late. I'm literally missing a stop right now, and my detective is out there.
And so, Officer Dennis, we want to get you back out there as soon as possible, so we'll only take a couple more minutes of your time. But as you have these issues arise, and especially given the place that this is in Kego Harbor, where this bus stop is, has there been any discussion with the West Bloomfield School District or other nearby districts that may have stops in similar situations nearby that affect our local kids of maybe moving those stops to other locations?
My knowledge, at least for the one that's in our city, the Orchard Lake and Maddie Lane, there's not really anywhere you can move it because most of the children come off of southbound Maddie Lane at Orchard. It's a dead-end street. The bus doesn't have the room to turn around down there, which is why it stops on Orchard Lake. The next stop would be way far up the road, or we'd have kids crossing the street on Orchard Lake, which is an even bigger problem. So, I mean, at this point in time, us and Sylvan have been attacking it pretty hard at that spot. And then I actually just met up with a deputy from Oakland County Sheriff's Office today that's part of their traffic unit, and he was even helping us today.
And so drivers need to be aware of these rules. Hopefully this will help to raise some of that awareness, and they just need to ultimately be more careful, especially when they see those school buses around, assume that kids are going to be getting off of those buses, and even, as you just said, crossing that street. But for those that decide not to play along with the rules and make these violations, obviously they're already in process of being caught quite significantly in the city of Keego Harbor in recent weeks. But for those that aren't aware, just how serious of a violation is it if you pass a school bus when it is at a stop?
It is going to be a $500 fine, which is a lot, and 3 points.
Yeah.
And we're strict on this. When it comes to the kids in our city, we're not playing games on tickets. Other things you can write warnings on, speed, stuff like that. But whatever we got to do to protect these kids out here, and if that's writing big tickets, that's writing big tickets. We have no problem doing that if they're going to disobey the stop signs on the bus.
In a small town like Keego, small towns like Keego, Sylvan, even Orchard Lake, those Tri-Cities, really going to have to go out of your way to get yourself a traffic violation. That about the worst way possible you can do so. Officer Dennis, before we let you go, anything else that the community should be aware of on this matter, or lasting messages from the Keego Harbor Police Department to the greater community about this particular area of Orchard Lake Road?
Just be safe, drive safe, be vigilant. I know early in the morning it's easier to see the bus when it's still dark out because of the flashing lights on the bus and everything else. It's the later hours of the day, people rushing in at 8:30, that we have a big problem. Just know we're out there, we're enforcing it, and if we stop you, you're getting a ticket.
And it's good information to keep in mind, too, as we approach daylight saving time, and those days are going to get darker and darker later on when kids are going to be getting to those bus stops. Officer Dennis, thank you for your time and insight today.
Thank you.
You can find even more helpful information on local safety in the city of Keego Harbor. Things you need to know as you go out on the road, especially Orchard Lake during those really busy times of the day. Facebook.com/Keego Police, or visit KeegoHarbor.org if you need to call the Keego Harbor Police Department about other problem areas you're noticing on the road. They'll have their non-emergency number present there, as well as the non-emergency number for West Bloomfield Police Dispatch, which is the phone number for after hours when the Keego Harbor Police are not located directly inside City Hall. Close to home, many families that are moving to Greater West Bloomfield are looking to start a family as they come to our community. It's one of the many reasons they move to Greater West Bloomfield, is because it's a great place to have a family and raise a family. But there's a lot of planning and logistics that goes into starting a family altogether. And now the Jewish Fertility Foundation is here to help. Joining me with more information is Taylor Weintraub, the regional manager of Jewish Family Foundation. Taylor, thank you for joining us today. Happy to have you on, as you are going to be joining Temple Israel for this event coming up very soon here in later November. The name of the event is Pathways to Parenthood. Take us through that, because that kind of does encapsulate a little bit of everything that's going on here, exploring different ways that people can move towards starting a family, but being prepared for it.
Yeah, so the Jewish Fertility Foundation, our mission is to help families that are on a family building journey. We give grants, emotional support, mental support to those going through infertility and beyond. And so one of the big things that we do is, just because we're giving grants for fertility journeys, that's not always the path for everybody. So we always want to educate and give people the opportunity to see what else is out there. They don't have to just hit a wall on a fertility journey. There are other options and other opportunities. And another mission of ours is to always educate people on these different paths and these different journeys. So one of the events that we have created at JFF is Pathways to Parenthood, to help educate those going through these family building journeys and their loved ones.
And so as parents or potential parents are considering starting a family, a lot of the challenges that they're addressing beforehand are typically the logistical challenges. And there are some pretty common ones and some that maybe aren't so commonly considered before a person or a group begins to start their family, but there's also those emotional challenges also. What are some of the common emotional and logistical challenges that your organization helps families consider before they get started with this process?
Sure. So I think one of the big things that people always think about is fertility treatments and how much it can do to your body and how it's emotional, but it's also very expensive. So the financial aspect really puts a strain on people, not just financially, but emotionally in that sense. Um, there's a lot of logistics, period, that goes into each journey of building a family, whether that be legal aspects, financial aspects, the medical aspects. There's a lot of testing that has to be done, whether you are going through it yourself or you are using a surrogate or you are using a donor, adoption, all of these things. There are home visits and tests, and a lot of the logistical stuff can also lead to the emotional turmoil that can come with it. And so with JFF, our goal is to provide not only the education and, of course, what we can do financially, but also the emotional support.
And so the speakers on this panel that will be taking place Thursday, November 20th, 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. at Temple Israel right here in West Bloomfield. It's going to include experts from the Jewish Fertility Foundation of Detroit, as well as Rabbi Jennifer Kaluzny from Temple Israel and Carrie Provisor, who is a licensed social worker as well, kind of encapsulating a few different elements of the community and a few different elements of support systems that go into especially new parental units as they begin a family. And how important is it, in your experience, for individuals that are considering starting a family or actively trying to start a family to hear some of these stories and hear some of these perspectives as they begin this journey themselves?
I think it's almost as important, if not just as important, to hear both the personal standpoints and the professional standpoints. Of course, the professionals are the ones that have been doing this forever and know what your options are for the most part and things like that. But I think that's not going to help you see that there are people who come out of this on the other side and there is hope there. It's also important to hear not just the good stories, but I also think the not so good stories, so that expectations can be there and you know what to expect. And your loved ones should hear these things as well, because they need to know that it's not just because you're doing IVF does not mean that you are getting pregnant. Some of these women, unfortunately, going through IVF go through many, many rounds, and it doesn't always end with a baby. So I think it's important to hear all of these perspectives and what people have gone through and how they've gotten out on the other side, and just the opportunity to know that they're not alone when they hear these things.
And it's important, too, to consider these different stories, to hear these perspectives, to begin those discussions, because whether it is a family that's going to consider IVF or needs to consider IVF to start the journey to beginning a family of their own, or they don't need that, these stories can be very important in helping them learn a little bit of the process, eliminate some of those negatives that they may encounter as a result of hearing stories of people who have been there and been through that and endured that and gotten to the other side. But also, it forms that community, and I'd imagine reduces some of the loneliness of this individual or these individuals that are going through this process, typically as one unit. Now they've got more of a community.
Exactly. So this is a way to show that we have this community here for them. There are always resources there every step of the way.
And that's why this is an important discussion coming up in just a couple of weeks, very shortly from now, November 20th. It'll be a Thursday night, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pathways to Parenthood at Temple Israel right here in West Bloomfield on Walnut Lake Road. And so as you go through this and you are having these discussions with people, why is it significant to explore multiple family building routes, not just, of course, the traditional routes, but also adoption, surrogacy, fertility treatments, as you mentioned, because it's not always a one-size-fits-all journey for parents or a unit of parents.
Exactly. I always say it's not a linear journey. Even if you end up doing IVF and having a baby on the other side, it's never linear. Families hit walls all the time with one path and may need to explore another one. And it's important to know that there are other options. Just because IVF may not work for you doesn't mean there is nothing else out there. And especially with all the logistics that go into it, not everybody's eligible for all of these paths. And it's not something that maybe they can do or it's feasible for them. So it's important to know that there are options.
And those options are going to be available to you in person, and you'll be able to get connected with these expert resources as well for even more consultation on different places you can look for additional research and additional resources so that you can learn more about these topics yourself after these discussions. For more information on Pathways to Parenthood, if you want to attend on Thursday, November 20th, templeisrael.org/events is the place to go for more on that. And then beyond that, what type of resources can people expect to learn more about as they do attend this discussion and they do have a chance to interface with some of these experts and other potential families?
I think, first of all, it's really important if you are coming to hear these paths, try and bring your loved ones too, because this will also be an opportunity for them to hear how to best support you on your journeys and get a better understanding of what it is that you might be going through. There also will be, of course, the logistical resources. So, for example, we have Alexis Cyril joining our panel, and she is a family and reproductive attorney out of New York, who's also barred here in Detroit, in Michigan. But she is a wonderful resource because all of these paths almost involve some sort of legal aspect, and not many people know that. So that's really important to hear. We'll also have some different resources there in terms of financial aid, not just us at JFF, but a couple other organizations in the area that can help with that. Family building consultants, that's a huge one because people don't know where to start. And I think that's the most overwhelming part of a journey is just getting to step one.
No one parent or no one family can really do this alone, go through this journey entirely solo or entirely as that maybe two-person unit, and neither can one organization like yours at the Jewish Fertility Foundation of Detroit provide all these resources and all the support all on your own. So how does collaboration with other organizations in the Metro Detroit area factor into the consultation you're providing to individuals at an event like this coming up in West Bloomfield, as well as the resources that you're then pushing them to after the fact for them to get more of that individualized help and care that they may need?
So yeah, it just like family building takes a village, so does JFF for sure. And so we have a really tight connection to our community, which I think is really wonderful. One of the biggest connections I would say that we need to help us get through to helping people is our connections with our fertility clinics here in Metro Detroit. Anybody who is awarded a grant through JFF is part of one of our partner clinics, and our partner clinics also offer discounts to those grantees going through their treatments so that hopefully that grant can go further, because as much as we wish we could pay for entire rounds of IVF, it's not something that we're able to do all the time. So those discounts are really helpful. We also work a lot with acupuncturists and local therapists and different things and organizations and people that also assist in fertility, because it's not just, the treatments itself, and it's not just the money, it's also the things that you feel you need to do for your body going into it. We also have a lot of collaborative partnerships on things like this event. For example, Temple Israel is fully sponsoring this event for us, which we're so thankful for. And with the Robert Sosnick Life Center there, it really just makes sense for us to be doing this with them to help families going through these challenges.
The website for more information, temple-israel.org/events. Top of that page will be Pathways to Parenthood. Click on that. You'll have all the information you need about attending this event Thursday, November 20th at 7 p.m. at Temple Israel on Walnut Lake Road right here in West Bloomfield Township. Joining us on the program today is Taylor Weintraub from the Jewish Family Foundation, as well, Jewish Fertility Foundation of Detroit, as well as we discuss this upcoming event. Taylor, if people are not able to attend on November 20th for this Pathway to Parenthood event, what lasting words of encouragement or advice would you have for them as they continue on this journey and maybe look for these resources outside of this one event?
Yeah, of course. So first of all, JFF is always here. Just because we are the Jewish Fertility Foundation, we do work hard to help everybody in the community, whether you are Jewish or not. So we are always a resource for you. You are never alone, and we are always here to help. So please always feel free to reach out if you even just want to talk to somebody about something, we have resources as well. So we are always here.
More information on the event can be found on temple-israel.org/events. And to get in contact with the Jewish Fertility Foundation of Detroit, you can find them on jewishfertilityfoundation.org/Detroit. Taylor, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you joining us on the show to tell us more about Pathways to Parenthood. The event is at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, Thursday, November 20th at 7 p.m. You can find more information on that and other family-related events happening at Temple Israel. Join them on their website, temple-israel.org/events. All the perks of your local library are now right in your pocket on your phone. The West Bloomfield Township Public Library has launched its very own app, helping you to find those perfect reads and other resources at your own convenience anywhere in the community, so that you know exactly where to find them when you go to the Main or the West Acres branches. Here to tell us more about the brand new app is the West Bloomfield Library's Digital Services Aide, Robbie Pluta. Robbie, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you on, as this is a big step for the West Bloomfield Library and many different organizations in our community here in Greater West Bloomfield, and those across communities in southeastern Michigan and other places all around the world are now shifting to this sort of a format where they're taking their resources and they're putting them on an app to provide that extra level of convenience. For the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, what was the main motivation behind taking all these resources that are, of course, in person at your two branches and, of course, on your website, now to being in a digital app?
I think you described it there perfectly, in that there was already kind of a need, and we're seeing trends of other institutions and particularly other libraries creating their own apps and digital interfaces for patrons to get these resources on their phones. So I think it was already kind of a trend we saw emerging, and I would get plenty of questions of people asking, do you guys have an app, or can we link my accounts with my kids? So we saw the need was there already.
And so how does the app then enhance the experience that people would have when they go to these two branches or when they visit on your still very new and renovated website?
Well, I'm never going to discourage anyone from visiting the library in person, because there's so much to see there.
Neither will we.
But I will say that the app works to really consolidate a lot of the key features and key questions that patrons and visitors might have. What are our hours? Can I search for this book? Is there an event going on right now? Is my book ready to be picked up? So it really consolidates it all in one easy place that patrons have access to.
And there's so many resources at the library, Robbie, and so many people love to use the West Acres branch and the Main branch to pick up some of those good reads that they want to find, that maybe they don't want to go out to the bookstore and buy another copy of it when it's already available right here in our community. They get their library card. They just want to go there for specific resources. But with all of that being available and so many people having such an affinity for the West Bloomfield Library, there is a little bit of competition there, but this app provides a little bit of help if people want to reserve some of those resources in advance before they head out to one of their branches.
Exactly, yeah. So being able to look in advance before you even visit the library, do you have this book? Is there something going on right now? Being able to carry your barcode with you is something that I know a lot of people were looking for. I would see people constantly trying to shuffle, find which wallet, find which string of the keychain it's on. So being able to know where it is instantly with just a tap of your finger was a convenience a lot of our patrons were already looking for.
Joining us on the Splash Live is Robbie Pluta from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, one of their library digital services aides on today's edition of the program. You can learn more about the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, including their brand new app. Visit them on their website, wblib.org, or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at West Bloom LIB. Robbie, what feedback have you received so far from people that have been asking, hey, do you guys have an app? Do you have an app? And now you do. It's available for people to use. What so far has been the response from the community?
I think overwhelmingly it's been pretty positive from all the patrons that I've spoken to. I would say our barcode feature is one that is a real standout for people, as I mentioned, being able to know where that is instantly, so you don't have to like shuffle through your belongings to find it. I would say as well the ability to link other people's accounts in your family or in your household. So if your spouse puts a book on hold and you're running to the library and you're already there, you can check it out for them instead of calling them, getting their library card, waiting for them to come in. I think a lot of people are also eager to see how we integrate in the future with other digital resources we have, like our ebook, audiobook software, cloud library. So you can still access all that material through the app. It's just on another tab that says ebooks and e-audio. So you can still get that all for free with your library card. It's just like a separate press there that I think people are excited to see.
Now, this is all very exciting, and people love having an app for their local library, especially here in Greater West Bloomfield, where the township and our Tri-Cities love and adore their local library. But not everybody's very tech savvy. They have this idea of, okay, first it was I go to the library to find all these resources. Then I got to learn the website. Now I got to learn an app as well. For those that maybe aren't so tech savvy, how easy is this app to use and to learn?
I think it's particularly easy to use. I think all of our features are labeled very well and in very like big text so people can see like what exactly am I looking for. There's no menus to navigate through. It's all just through the press of a button that you can get to things. And anything that you would need help looking for, all of our librarians at either West Acres or at Maine are happy and eager to help you out. So I would definitely encourage people, ask at the desk, ask your librarian how you can download the app, how to navigate through it. We're excited to see people embracing this and using it.
This is kind of the way that libraries are going to be operating going forward, Robbie. They got to find new ways to engage local audiences to come into their facility, to engage with their resources. And people want to find those at the same convenience that they would be shopping online for something or researching for a fun event in their community. They're going to do that on the go. They're going to do that on their phones. So how does this help fit into the library's broader digital imagination for the future, and how that factors into the continuity of this beloved resource in our community?
I think you laid it out there perfectly in that so much of our lives now have become digitized. Your healthcare is online, your schooling's online, looking for a job is pretty much all online right now. So digital literacy is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. So anything the library can do to help our patrons feel more comfortable in this world is something that we feel obligated to do. We always want to increase people's access and their knowledge in any way we can. And so if this app helps people get more comfortable using other digital resources, that's a step that we want to take. And we've also taken further steps to increase our offerings for technology tutoring and for digital classes at the library. I just taught one the other day about people migrating to Windows 11. So we understand there's a lot of features out there that people are still learning to use and adapting to use, and we want to help facilitate that transition for our patrons.
I'm glad you brought that up too. Robbie Pluta, Digital Services Library Aide with the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, is with us on the Splash Live as the West Bloomfield Library has launched its official app. It's available on both Android and Apple app stores and is available for free. All you got to do is log in with your library information to access all of those resources and connect it to your library information so that when you go to the main branch or the West Acres branch, there it is, all right there for you. But as we discussed and you just brought up, there are also those resources, and that's a big part of what you do at the library to help those that maybe aren't caught up with the times and the digital technology to bridge some of those gaps too. So how does that also factor in now as the library moves toward more of these digital resources being available and it being more critical to people being able to continue to have that ease of access to these resources they've become so accustomed to?
Yeah, so we've been noticing, especially in our trends, that our checkout numbers for digital materials are just going through the roof. It's easily the most in-demand service that we offer now. And so we wanted to use this app as an opportunity to showcase a lot more of that too. So you can link directly into our primary app that we get ebooks and e-audiobooks through called Cloud Library. All you need is your library card, and you get access to many, many titles for free. I constantly have people, when I show them this, they like, so this is all for free? And I'm like, yes, anything you can get through your local library is for free. And in addition to that, we have language learning services through our app, Mango Languages. You have access to many different investment strategies as well through our online resources. You can access Ancestry in person in the library if you're doing family genealogical research. The sky's the limit, basically.
And it's all accessible to you with your mobile devices. Android App Store, Apple App Store. The West Bloomfield Township Library now has its very own official app. You can learn more about it on their Facebook page at West Bloom LIB or on WBLIB.org. Robbie, as we conclude today, what maybe are some other new innovations from the digital technology side that the library is now starting to implement or maybe having on the docket in the near future?
Ooh, well, I can't speak too much. Don't want to give too much away, but one thing that I can say is that I believe in January we are starting a open hours resume workshop that I will be assisting with. So I know in particular a lot of people come to the library with questions about how to set up their resume, what are people looking for, how to fill out the online applications that like LinkedIn, Indeed are all using now. So we're going to be doing like an open office hours style resume assistance starting in January. So people should keep an eye out for that.
Well, that, folks, is what we in the television business call a teaser. That means we're just going to have Robbie and others from the library have to join us on The Splash that much more often as we get into the coming months and start the new year in 2026. Robbie, thank you as always for your time.
Very appreciated. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on, and congratulations on the new West Bloomfield Library app available on the Apple or Android device stores as well. Your library, one tap away from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. If you want to learn more information on the brand new app, see more of their digital resources, or just explore your local library, two great places to do that. Online on WBLIB.org or visit them on both Facebook and on Instagram under the same handle, West Bloom LIB. Close to home in Greater West Bloomfield, a local man who at one point in his career was a firefighter took his passion outside of the firehouse, cooking delicious barbecue, to new heights on social media and rose to quick stardom as well. His name is Walter Johnston. You may recognize him from social media such as TikTok, where he's become quite a big star. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff had a chance to speak to Walter about his rise to notoriety on social media and, of course, his passion for creativity and barbecue.
Walter, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to see you at the barbecue.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for this because I am a fan of your channel. I've been watching it for quite a while, and it is incredible to see what you've been able to accomplish at the barbecue. So I got to start from the beginning. How did your passion for barbecue first take shape?
Well, honestly, it all started when I was a kid. I watched my dad grill when I was a kid, and it was, love my dad to death, but, you know, he did his best. Let's just say it that way. But he cooked for all of us. If one of us wanted burgers, one of us wanted brats, stuff like that, he would do his best with it. Then, long story short, a nasty divorce happened and the barbecue stopped. And then I was a firefighter prior to this. Been retired for about almost 11 years now. And one of my old firefighting buddies said, hey, let's go get something to eat. And so we tried some brisket, and I'm like, this is really good. I'm like, okay, let's see what we can work with this. The minute I tried that, I wanted to get my own smoker. I found the cheapest one I could find on Amazon, and I started doing stuff, you know. A lot of successes, tons of failures, but, you know, we're perfecting the art every single day.
That's right.
Now my dad watches me barbecue, and it's pretty funny now.
I'd imagine so, but hey, practice makes perfect. And as I was saying, you've taken this love of barbecue to a great new level. What inspired you to start Michigan Barbecue Addicts?
So honestly, we were making a good recipe online. I was taking photos of it. I found some of those Facebook groups like Meat Church Congregation, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I'm really proud of this. And I wanted to post my picture and see what people thought, because everybody wants to get that validation online. And let's just say this, no barbecue jokes intended, but I got roasted really, really bad. People were telling me like really, really mean things, super judgmental, not even in like engaging. And I got really upset. I took that personally. And then my wife, she looked at me and she's like, look, take this down. Let's think about this, and she really changed my perspective. And we turned this into, how can we make a cooking channel that is formed on judgment-free cooking? And that's how the Michigan Barbecue Addicts was developed. We are founded on judgment-free cooking for anybody that wants to learn. I'm not a pro by any means. I'm just a fat guy that knows how to cook in the backyard. That's the biggest thing. And that's how we got started. People love the judgment-free factor, and we've been doing pretty good ever since.
I mean, you seem to be very, very skilled. I mean, we're showing some of your videos on the screen right now. If you're watching on Civic Center TV, you certainly know what you're doing. And it's great that you're showcasing all of these skills to so many other people. Now, I want to talk about your Roll for Barbecue series. It's such a creative concept. Talk about what it is and how did that idea to mix dice rolls and cooking challenges, how did that come about?
So I'll start off by saying this. I'm a nerd, right? I have no shame in my game. I will say that all the live long day. And honestly, I was scrolling on TikTok one day and I found Roll for Sandwich, Adventures in Artie. And I was like, that's an interesting concept. Roll the dice and you can make a sandwich just based on pure chance. Then I scrolled again. I see somebody does Roll for Pizza. And then I saw Roll for Sushi. And I'm like, we could probably do this with barbecue. So I bought myself a cheap dice tower on Amazon, 2 sets of dice, and I decided, I was like, let's see if we can put a barbecue spin on it. We did. The first episode, I got, again, roasted again. People were like, that's a ripoff, you're doing this all wrong. And then we did it on our own the second time, and everybody absolutely loved it. Ironically, it was right around the time I lost my job at the time, and of course, I'm depressed. I was like, what am I going to do? So we ended up like pushing all of our attention on that, and that's how we grew big on TikTok. Like we did a couple sponsored channels, stuff like that, and it just blew up from there.
That's right. And as you're saying, all of these other great channels have served as inspiration. I should mention Roll for Sandwich, also a Michigan native. So all the good ideas are coming from this state. I just want to point that out. But obviously, when it comes to using these dice, obviously, I'm assuming some of the results are probably better than others. What would you say have been some of your favorite or maybe your most unexpected results so far from the dice rolls? Like one of your best, one of your worst?
So I can tell you my most recent, honestly. So
Sure.
One of the most recent ones that I can tell you was one of the best ones I had recently. Previously, it was a burn-end baked potato. It was a burn-end twice baked potato with like a blueberry barbecue sauce. Really great. But recently, we discovered pumpkin spice turkey breasts, which I'm basic. Trust me, I'm very basic when it comes to, fall and stuff like that. So it worked out really good. I mean, it was the flavor dynamics behind the pumpkin spice and the turkey just really, it was so comforting. It was just hit you right in the heart. It was so good. Now, some of the bad stuff, I will say, is the stuff that I've had to drink. Like we did. So Roll for Barbecue around Halloween, my wife and I, it's no surprise here, but we are big spooky people around Halloween. And we have a character on our channel called Mayhem, and he adds either a really great flair to your meal or something that's super cursed and is going to possibly ruin it, right? So one of the ones that we had last year, I was making chicken wings. And he had us blend our chicken wings into apple cider with Worcestershire sauce. And we had to drink it. And commitment to the bit, yes, I drank the whole thing. Did it stay in my system? No, it did not.
I give you props for that, for committing to the bit. I mean, I don't think I would ever want to drink my chicken wings, but so my hat is off to you, sir. And I also want to point out, it is nice that even when maybe the dice rolls don't always go the way that you want it to go, you always offer a little bit of help at the end to say, how can you fix it?
You did it right. We want to be able to fix our meals here because, I mean, honestly, the stuff that I'm making, it's either going to be really good, really bad, or just in between. We want to take it to that next level. So if you want to recreate this at home, you can. I mean, if you're crazy enough to recreate some of the stuff we do at home, go for it. So we want to make it better for you so you can give yourself a different idea of how you want to cook.
There's definitely ones I've got in mind to maybe try myself. Just need to up my cooking skills just a little bit. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with the founder of Michigan Barbecue Addicts, West Bloomfield resident Walter Johnston, who has amassed an incredible following on TikTok with almost 600,000 followers, all learning his barbecue magic. Now, I do want to highlight something because you always highlight Michigan barbecue. How does Michigan's local barbecue scene influence your cooking style and the type of content that you create?
Honestly, I mean, I get this question a lot. We get people say, "Oh, Texas barbecue, it's all about salt and pepper," and Kansas City has this, and Memphis has this. Michigan barbecue, to me, is look. We have cookouts. We like going and closing down an entire block, and everybody gets together, and we just have a good old-fashioned cookout. That's Michigan barbecue right there. Now, how we've incorporated the Michigan twist onto everything, we got our classics. We got Faygo. We have our Verners. We have our Conies, you know. We have different things that really make Michigan pop, you know, Kogels. You know, all of those big brands, how can we incorporate those into our barbecue really adds that Michigan flair. Plus, you know, we like to keep things humble here. We want to make sure that everybody's welcome at our barbecue. As long as there's no hate, no, nothing like that. Everybody's welcome here.
What are your plans in the future, possibly expanding beyond social media?
So ultimately, my biggest goal, I mean, I would love to have first I got to get myself a truck and a pole behind smoker. And I want to be able to, you know, drive anywhere I can and make barbecue, you know, do catered events, stuff like that. That's the idea. We want to be able to spread the Michigan barbecue love across the board. You know, for people who haven't heard of us or haven't been on TikTok, you're not on TikTok, that's fine. We like to try to grow ourselves on social media, so by the time we get to the point where we can, you know, have the funding to do a food truck or something like that, people already know who we are. People already know what our game is and then how we're going to operate.
Well, I can't wait to see it, and I assure you, I will be first in line. I've seen all of your cooking. I want to try it for myself. Now, Walter, a couple more questions before we wrap things up. Where can people go to find you on social media, on TikTok, on all the other places to catch your content in person?
Absolutely. So we operate on a multitude of different social media platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Those are our main four. But, I mean, we're starting to grow everywhere else. You know, we're trying to get onto, you know, Lemonade, Blue Sky, stuff like that. But if you want to find us mainly, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If you want to catch us, if you don't remember that, no problem. Go to MichiganBBQAddicts.com. That takes us right to our store where you can get some amazing merch like Never Trust a Skinny Chef, any of our hats, stuff like that. But there's also a link in there. You can check us out, and that'll take us right to all of our social media links.
Michigan BBQ Addicts, that's where you can find all the magic. All right, Walter, last question before we wrap things up, and I think this might be the most important question of all. It's a little tricky. Out of all of the pieces of barbecue you could possibly make, pork, chicken, ribs, brisket, what's your favorite?
Hands down, it's got to be Snake River Farms Black Grade Wagyu brisket. Wow. We got one sent to us a couple years ago. And I'm still drooling over it right now. Like you mentioned Snake River Farms Black Grade Wagyu brisket, and I need to do some housekeeping here. But it was the most tender, juicy, beefy, delicious. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. It just melted in your mouth. You were like, "Where'd the food go?" It's so good.
I might need to try that for myself. Once again, Michigan Barbecue Addicts, all across social media to catch barbecue tips and roll for barbecue. Can't wait to see what's to come. Walter, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate y'all. And, of course, we'll see you guys at the next barbecue.
Walter Johnston, all across social media with tasty barbecue videos that are blowing up across social media, especially on TikTok. You can find them pretty much anywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at Michigan BBQ Addicts. They've had some big stars on the show recently, including Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who joined Walter right here in West Bloomfield at his home for one of his latest sets of videos. So again, find them on social media at Michigan BBQ Addicts. There we go, with Big Gretch and Walter all getting ready for some tasty barbecue close to home right here in West Bloomfield. Also close to home, your local home may be at risk this winter as you maybe start the fire, or even more commonly, you could start a fire in a place where you probably don't want it to be, in your laundry room, your dryer. When you clear out that vent with the lint after each and every run, as you should do, some of it doesn't get all the way out of that system, and it could lead to a fire in your home, as it did recently for West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder. And so we brought in an expert on our program to speak to Jake Schaff to learn more about what steps you need to take in your laundry room to prevent those dryer vent fires. Jason Carlock spoke to Jake Schaff for all of the insight.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Now, this is obviously something that you see time and time again because of your job. What are some of the most common causes of dryer fires that you tend to see in your line of work?
Well, it really boils down to whether or not the dryer has space to breathe. So if that dryer venting gets clogged or crushed or anything such as that, and you impede that flow, then the heat can't escape from the dryer as it's supposed to. So the dryer ends up getting super, super hot, and which could cause the lint inside the venting to combust and start a fire.
That's right. It really shows the importance of checking those lint traps and to make sure that the lint is removed every single time, or at least every so often. And you can see some photos right now on Civic Center TV of a recent job you did actually helping out West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder with an incident at her home. How often should homeowners have their dryer vents professionally cleaned, and what factors might change that timeline, would you say?
Well, the industry standard as a whole is that you should get your dryer vent cleaned once a year. But I've found that not everybody has a long run. It may be a short run. So they may need it every other year just for maintenance purposes, or every 2 years. And that'll factor in once we go there and clean it out. We usually do a following year. We go there and clean it again. And that gives us an idea of how often they really should be getting it cleaned at that point.
That's right. And when people have incidents like this, who they're going to call? They're going to call you. So I'm curious if you can walk us through your process with Great Lakes Dryer Vent Services, what a typical vent cleaning usually entails.
Sure. What we do often is we go in, we check the back of the dryer, make sure the connection is connected properly, that the line isn't crushed, because folks will end up pushing their dryer back somehow, and that could pinch the, especially if it's flex back there. A lot of homeowners like the flex so they can pull their dryer out, they can clean back there, and then when they push it back, sometimes it gets crushed. So we make sure that that is clear and that there's nothing hindering that from the airflow from coming out. And then what we'll do is we'll go outside. We have specialized tools that run on air, 175 PSI. We go through with our line. It's a spinning reverse ball. So what that does is it kind of propels that line almost like a rocket to get through all the bends and the turns. And then we pull all the debris outside like you saw in those photos. And then we clean that up. We do an airflow test to make sure that it is now venting properly and that it's safe to use, and that sort of thing. So
sounds like a very intricate process. Sorry, words are tripping me up sometimes, but a very thorough process to make sure that everybody stays safe. Now, it should be noted that maybe people don't always realize just when something might be wrong with their dryer vent until it's too late. So what are some early warning signs that a dryer vent might be clogged or unsafe?
Well, the first thing that'll happen is that your clothes they won't dry as quickly. You'll have to run an additional cycle in order to get the clothes to dry. You may end up with lots of moisture inside the dryer. Also, another indication is most of the new dryers today, they'll give an error code, and that error code will usually tell you that there is a point of blockage that you'll need to get cleaned out in order for it to run properly. But I'd say the biggest thing is probably most people catch the fact that it is taking much longer to get their clothes dry.
That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always online on civiccentertv.com, where you can find each and every one of our full shows and every single interview, including seeing more insight from Jason Carlock about how to prevent those clogs in your dryer vent that can lead to fires in your home. Big thank you to our entire crew for making today's show possible, and of course to you for joining in as well. For our entire team at Civic Center TV, I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanks for tuning in to The Splash Live.